Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Magician of Chaos deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck summons out one of the coolest ritual monsters ever created, Magician of Chaos. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like in your name, description, every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Magician of Chaos. This card is our main boss monster we're trying to summon to our side of the field as quickly as possible so we can start popping cards. This card is amazing in this deck, and it's such a cool ability that you can ritual summon this card with Chaos form, making it really easy to summon. And this card's name becomes Dark Magician while in the field or in the graveyard, and once per turn, when a spell or trap card or effect is activated, quick effect, you can target a card on the field and destroy it, which is an amazing ability about this card that just pops cards on the field when spells or traps are activated. And if this ritual summon card is destroyed by battle by card effect, you can special summon a Chaos or a Blackluster Soldier ritual monster from your hand except a copy of Magician of Chaos, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is such a cool ability because we can actually summon out Illusion of Chaos. We then play 3 copies of Illusion of Chaos. This card is amazing in this build as a 3-of because you can actually summon it in this deck, which is sometimes gonna come up, which is so cool. It has the ability you can ritual summon this card with Chaos form, and you can reveal this card in your hand to add a Dark Magician or a non-ritual monster that mentions it from your deck to your hand, then place a card from your hand on top of your deck, making it a great searcher for this build, but it has a pretty cool on-field ability that when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can return this card back to your hand, and if you do, special summon Dark Magician from your graveyard, and if you do that, negate the activated effect, which is a really cool ability about this card, that you can bounce this card, get a Dark Magician, and have a negation in this build, which is just such a cool ability. Plus, it's super easy to summon off your copy of Magician of Chaos's ability. We then play just 2 copies of Dark Magician. You really only need 2 copies of this card in the deck, but you're going to be using this card to ritual summon out your copy of Magician of Chaos, which is going to be super cool. We then play a single copy of Dark Magician Girl. Dark Magician Girl is just a good 1-of in the deck that's very easy to summon to your side of the field, but is an awesome combo piece in the deck. We then play a single copy of Apprentice Illusion Magician. Apprentice Illusion is a definite 1-of in the build because this card helps out a lot in the deck because you can special summon this card in your hand by discarding a card from your hand, and if you normally special summon this card, you get to add Dark Magician from your deck to your hand. And it's also a hand trap because during damage calculation, if your Dark Spellcaster monster battles an opponent's monster, quick effect, you can send this card from your hand or face it from field to grave, and that monster you control gains 2,000 attack points, letting you boost your copy of Magician of Chaos up to 4,500, matching a Blue Eyes ultimate, which is insane. We then play a single copy of Timaeus the United Dragon. This card is basically walking polymerization, helping you summon out cards like Red Eyes Dark Dragoon because it is a dragon monster, making it very easy to fusion summon into that crazy powerful boss monster. We then play 3 copies of Magician's Rod. Magician's Rod is a great normal summon in the deck because when this card is normal summon, you get to add a spell or trap card from your deck to your hand that specifically lists a card Dark Magician in its text, which is an amazing ability for this card to have. We then play 3 copies of Magician Souls. Magician Souls is really good in this deck as a 3-of because it has the ability that you can send up to 2 spells and traps from your hand or field to grave to draw that many cards, and if this card is in your hand, you can send a level 6 or higher spellcaster monster from your deck to the grave to activate one of these effects, either special summon this card or send it to the graveyard, then special summon Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl from your grave, which is amazing to help you summon out either Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, but usually you're just summoning this card to your side of the field, so you can use it for the draw effect. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is an amazing 1-of in the deck because we actually have a couple of different field spells that we're going to be searching with this card. Starting off with the copy of Magician's Salvation. Magician's Salvation is amazing in the deck because when this card is activated, you set Eternal Soul directly from your deck, and if you normal or special summon Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, you get to summon the other one from the graveyard, which is such a cool ability that if you get the one, you get the other one to your side of the field, which is so cool about this this card. We then play 2 copies of Secret Village of the Spellcaster, which is the other field spell we search with Terraforming. This card basically makes it that if you control a Spellcaster monster, your opponent cannot activate spells, essentially locking down your opponent from spell cards, which is absolutely insane. But if you control no spellcasters, you can't activate spell cards. We then play 2 copies of Secrets of Dark Magic. Secrets of Dark Magic is really good in this deck as a 2-of because this card is not only a fusion spell, but it's also a ritual spell, which is a quick play spell, which is insane to be able to ritual summon during your opponent's turn. This card is amazing in the deck as a 2-of. It is searchable, but I really like this card in the deck as a 2-of just to help you go in for more plays. We then play 2 copies of Dark Magical Circle. This card is great because it lets you look at the top 3 cards of your deck and then reveal a Dark Magician or a spell or trap that specifically lists Dark Magician in its text among those cards and add it to your hand. And if Dark Magician is normal or special summoned to your side of the field, then you can target a card your opponent controls and banish it, which is great to just spot remove cards off the field. I absolutely love this card as a 2-of in the deck. We then play 2 copies of Chaos Form. Chaos Form is great in the deck to help you ritual summon out your boss monster Magician of Chaos by using your Dark Magician as a material, which is just absolutely crazy. And this card is amazing as a 2-of in the deck. We then play 2 copies of Advanced Ritual Art. Advanced Ritual Art is great in this deck as a 2-of because you can actually send Dark Magician from your deck to the graveyard to be able to ritual summon out your copy of Magician of Chaos or Illusion of Chaos, which is just so cool about this card. This card is so powerful in the deck and it's just an amazing 2-of overall. We then play 3 copies of Soul Servant. Soul Servant helps out a lot in this build because you can place a card from or on the top of your deck from your hand, deck, or graveyard that is Dark Magician or mentions Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl, except a copy of Soul Servant. And during your main phase, you can banish this card from the grave and draw cards equal to the number of Paladinium monsters, Dark Magician, and or Dark Magician Girl with different name on the field or in the graveyard, which is an amazing ability just to help you dig into the deck and also get the exact cards that you need. It combos very well with your copy of Dark Magical Circle because you can basically activate this is Chainlink 1 and this is Chainlink 2 to be able to put the exact card you want to grab off the copy of Soul Servant on top of the deck and then excavate off the top of the deck with your copy of your Dark Magical Circle, which is so cool to be able to get the exact card that you want and know what you're going to draw off of Soul Servant. We then play 3 copies of Preparation of Rites. This is a ritual focused deck, so 3 copies of this card is really good to help us search out our copy of Illusion of Chaos or a copy of Magician of Chaos, making this card a definite 3-of in the deck. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start off with 2 copies of Eternal Soul. Eternal Soul is really good because this card lets you have the ability every Dark Magician in your monster zone is unaffected by your opponent's card effects. And if this face-up card leaves the field, destroy all monsters that you control, which is a little bit of a downside, but it has a really good ability. You can activate one of these effects to special summon Dark Magician from your hand or grave, which is amazing because your copy of Magician of Chaos counts as Dark Magician while on the field or in the grave, which is a great ability to combo with this card. We then also play 3 copies of Goes and Match. Goes and Match is just so powerful in this deck because we're only ever summoning Dark outside of Timaeus the United Dragon. So this card is really good because each player can only control 1 attribute of monster, and you send all their face-up monsters that they control to the graveyard so they only control 1 attribute, which is super easy for us to play around with because we only summon Dark. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start off with a single copy of Master of Chaos. This card is very easy to bring out in this deck because we play Chaos monsters that are ritual monsters, making it very easy to make this card one of your main boss monsters you're going to summon out all the time. And if this card is fusion summoned, you can target a light or dark monster in your grave and special summon it, and you can contribute a light and a dark monster to banish all monsters that your opponent controls. And if this fusion summon card is destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can target a spell card in your grave and add it to your hand, which is a crazy powerful ability. And then play a single copy of Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight. This card protects your face-up spells and traps, which is amazing and also counts as Dark Magician while on the field or in the grave. We then play a single copy of the Dark Magicians. This card is really good in this deck as a 1-up. It's once per turn, if a spell or trap card effect is activated, you get to draw a card, and when it's a spell or trap, you can set it to your side of the field. If it's a trap or a quick play, you can activate it this turn. And if this card is destroyed, you can special summon both Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl from your hand, deck, or graveyard. The only place you cannot special summon them is from Banished, which is a little bit of a downside, but it's still really good to summon this card to your side of the field. We then play 2 copies of Red Eye's Dark Dragoon. Dragoon is insane in this deck. This card is so powerful. It's basically just like it's one of the most crazy powerful cards that's ever been created, because it cannot be destroyed by card effects, cannot be targeted. It can negate something by discarding a card. If it negates something, it goes up by 1,000. It's just insane. This card is so powerful, and it's so good in this deck. And if you use vanilla monsters to make it, it can pop a monster on the field and do burn damage to your opponent. It's just so good in this deck, and it just requires a dragon effect monster plus Dark Magician to make it, which is ridiculously easy to do in this deck. We then play a single copy of Access Code. Access Code's super easy to make in this build, which is why we play this card as a 1-up. It pops multiple cards on the field. It's just a really good card overall. We play a single copy of Blackluster Soldier, Soldier of Chaos. This card is amazing in the deck because it is a Chaos monster, and it does require 3 monsters with different names to make this card. And if you link summon this card using a level 7 or higher monster as material, your opponent cannot target it with card effects. Also, it cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects either. And when this card destroys a monster by battle, you can activate one of these effects to either increase this card's attack by 1,500, it can make a second attack during the battle phase of the next turn, or banish a card from the field, non-targeting, I might add, which is just insane. You can play a single copy of Selene. Selene's really good in any spellcaster type deck to be able to basically bring back your spellcasters from the grave, so you can step into Access Code. 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix. Nightmare Phoenix is really good in this deck to pop spells on traps. 1 copy of SP Little Knight. If you want a more budget option than this card, you can change it out for Nightmare Unicorn. If you want to change it out for a copy of Nightmare Unicorn, that's basically the best budget option because it's what I actually cut for the SP Little Knight. But this card is really insane in this deck because it's super easy to make. It helps you spot remove cards off the field, and if you use a Fusion, Synchro, Exile, or Link monster as a material, you can target a card on the field or in either player's grave and banish it. And it also has the ability, when your opponent activates an effect, quick effect, you can target 2 face-up monsters on the field, including a monster you control, and banish both until the end phase, basically banishing this card and an opponent's monster, which is insane. And then play a single copy of IP. IP is really good because you make this card, and then you make SP Little Knight during the opponent's turn to interrupt them, which is so cool about this card. To basically give you 2 interruptions with your copy of SP Little Knight. Play a single copy of Artemis because it belongs in every Dark Magician deck. This card belongs in every Dark Magician deck because you can normal summon Rod, get your search, make this card, and then you basically can bring back your Rod later using this card as a material, which is just really cool. We then play a single copy of Imduk. Imduk is really good to help you summon out Dragoon because you basically can turn a normal monster into a dragon by linking your copy of Dark Magician away for this so that you can step into another copy of Dragoon just in case you need to, so you always have access to a dragon monster. We then play a single copy of Chaos Angel. Chaos Angel is insane. You can play any other Link monster you want instead of this, but it's just so easy to make. It banishes a card on summon, and if you put light monsters in this card, Synchro monster control are unaffected by monster effects activated by your opponent. If you put dark, monster you control cannot be destroyed by battle, which is just insane. This card is definitely a 1-up in the deck if you can afford it, but if you can't, you can play another Link monster like copy of Unicorn if you want to, Link Spider, something like that, or another Dark Magician fusion like Dark Cavalry if you want to, or something like that. But it's a good option to be able to play if you have the copy of the Chaos Angel. Play it. We then play a single copy of Typhon. Typhon's just too good not to play in just about every deck. You can make this card without even using like any XZ monster. You don't have to use level 12s to make this card because during the turn or the turn after, your opponent special summons 2 or more monsters from the X deck. You can also XZ summon this card using any one monster that you control with the highest attack, your choice if it's a tie, which is just so cool to be able to do. This card is amazing in the deck, but you cannot normally special summon monsters for the rest of the turn, which is not the big deal because we can summon our cards off Eternal Soul during the opponent's turn. Also, while this card has when XZ summon monsters that on the field, neither player can activate the effects of monsters with 3,000 or more attack, which is easy for us to play around because just about everything we have is less than 3,000 in the main deck. That's our big boss monster, which is Magician of Chaos. And also, once per turn, you can detach a material on this card and return a monster on the field back to hand, which is just really good. So, That's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Magician of Chaos deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try. It's super fun to be able to play. I absolutely love it. It's really cool to be able to summon out Magician of Chaos, which is just such a cool boss monster that's based on Dark Magician, and I absolutely love this deck. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of our notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.